In 1982, 7 people in Chicago were reported dead after taking an extra-strength Tylenol capsule. It was reported that an unknown suspect put 65 milligrams of deadly cyanide into a capsule, which is 10,000 times more than necessary to kill humans. Tylenol controlled 37% of its market with revenue of about $1.2 million, and immediately after the crisis, its market share was reduced to 7%. Well, have you heard about the case? It's a Tylenol murder case that happens in Johnson & Johnson Company, the biggest multinational pharmaceutical and medical company based in America. So, in this video, I'd like to invite you to the in-depth discussions about the case study of the Tylenol murder. But before that, let me introduce myself first. Hi, I'm Nabila Ariani. Please do call me Nabila. Without further ado, so let's dig deep into it, shall we?
You are all aware of recent tragic events in limited areas after they left our factory.
So, how would Johnson & Johnson action towards the crisis? What is the consequences and response that they give to the public? What might have been the consequences if Johnson & Johnson had decided to tough out for the first report of the Tylenol-related deaths and not recall the product? Well, the consequences that might be happen is that there will be more victims that leads to the furiousness of the public. Because when they decided to toughen it out and let the poison medicine to the stores, there will be more customers who will be purchased the capsule. And as we know that from the case study that the Tylenol product has already spread around the world, worldwide, which means that there's still a possibility that the people didn't know about the crisis, about the case, and they still purchase the product and still consuming it. I think that there will be more that because of the Tylenol capsule itself. And in this case, as a PR or public relations, I think that they should be responsible to keep the reputations of the company, and also the fact that the PR department in Johnson & Johnson showed an effort to help people and recall the medicine in Chicago where the crisis began. It shows that they care about their customer, which it's an essential part as a PR to care about their customers. Well, what Johnson & Johnson respond to this? What other public relations options did Johnson & Johnson have in responding to the first round of the Tylenol murders? Well, actually Johnson & Johnson, they recall all the products and do the press release to the society or to the customer to not consume the Tylenol products anymore. Well, actually these actions cost a fortune because as we know that actually Johnson & Johnson have another options by just giving compensations to the families who get affected, but instead they choose to recall all the products. And additionally, the company also posts $100,000 rewards for those who find the perpetrators who caused these fatalities. Well, what a great options! Next point is the introductions and actions. Do you think the company made a wise decision by reintroducing extra-strength Tylenol? Well, from public relations point of view, I think it's not really wise decisions to directly reintroduce extra-strength Tylenol before and without knowing or finding the long-term solutions of the crisis first. Because I think that Johnson & Johnson should draw all the extra-strength Tylenol product for a long time of period first after everything is conducive. They should investigate and research more about it so that they will have the preventions in the future and not risk any more fatalities. And in that situations, it will be the right time for Johnson & Johnson to reintroduce the Tylenol because it will convince the customer that the manipulations occurred during the distributions, not during the manufacturers, and it proved that they did nothing wrong. Well, what Johnson & Johnson action towards this? In the light of response of other companies not to move precipitously when faced with a crisis, do you think Johnson & Johnson should have acted so quickly to remove all the Tylenol products when the second round of Tylenol murders occurred in 1986? Well, for me personally, yes, because I think that the impact is so huge. We're talking about humans' life right now, and if Johnson & Johnson didn't so quickly remove all the Tylenol products, could you imagine how many lives will be fall? And not only that, it will also affect to Johnson & Johnson as a whole. And we know that Johnson & Johnson also had no other choices but to act so quickly to prevent other victims. So I think that Johnson & Johnson really should have to act so quickly to remove all the Tylenol product when the second round of Tylenol murders occurred. The next one is what specific lessons can be derived from the way in which Johnson & Johnson handled the public relations aspects of these tragedies. 3 points from these questions. First, the importance of being open and honest with the public. Johnson & Johnson being open and honest with the public, which they are able to manage that positive public relations. They admit the case and didn't do any denial. Instead, they directly give solutions both for the victim and the society. The second one is that the importance of controlling the narrative. Not only that, Johnson & Johnson also maintained to control despite the fact that the murders were made public across the country. Johnson & Johnson exhibit the dedications reassuring shareholders, the public by launching a all-out media blitz that include inviting 16 Minutes show, and in the end, their facts, money, media, and truth campaign proved successfully. The third one is the importance of acting quickly in handling the crisis. As we know that after the death report caused by Tylenol, Johnson & Johnson directly give the compensations to the victim family, counseling and financial assistance. Not only that, they also so quickly recall all the Tylenol products and announce to the customer about the poison capsule to prevent more deaths. The next one is, could you imagine what if this crisis happened today? What was the media environment when the Tylenol crisis occurred? And how might the result have differed if the crisis occurred today? Well, 3 points to these questions. First, I think that Johnson & Johnson will be easier to do double cross-check. Because at that time, as we know that the technology is still less and not as sophisticated as today, that's why it's hard for them to notice like the deadly component of the capsule and not distribute it. And if that crisis happened today, I think it will be easier for them to do like double cross-check about the prescription of the capsule. And now because now there's technology that can indicate like deadly component of the capsule, and at the end of the day, there will be no second round of death cases. The second one is the clarifications and press release of the crisis is much more effective and easy to conduct. Because as we know that compared to 1982, Johnson & Johnson needed to like do a campaign, like inviting 60 Minutes show and other events in order to like do the clarifications to the public about the crisis, which I think that somehow we can ensure that everyone can see it and know about the information. Meanwhile, if it's happened now in this era, I think that we have social media to warn the society about the crisis, and it's easier for the society or the customer to know about the information, because as we know that all of us could access social media. And finally, at the end of the day, the information distributions will be much more effective. Then the third one is finding the perpetrators will be not as hard as it used to, because back then people only like use and rely on newspaper and televisions to like distribute the news about the perpetrators and etc., which I think that is still not maximal, because we know that there are only certain people that able to access that. And even though Johnson & Johnson already like provide a $100,000 checks for those who find the perpetrator, I think that it's still not enough. Meanwhile, in today's technology, as we know that we have social media, with using social media and all the components technology for the police, I think that it will be more easier for the police to arrest the perpetrators. So the last one is what happened with Johnson & Johnson now. What is the current situations of Johnson & Johnson now? So if you guys go to the website of Johnson & Johnson, they provide a lot of information. Even if you guys go to the frequently asked questions, Johnson & Johnson provide the first questions of frequently asked question is that they put, is Tylenol safe or not questions to convince the customer that their product is already safe. And not only that, Johnson & Johnson also provide the correct dosage and active ingredients in each Tylenol product to inform the customer about what is the right product that they really want. So yeah, I think that's pretty much from me. If you guys have any questions or opinion regarding this case study, please don't be afraid to express your opinion in the comment sections. Thank you so much for watching this video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.